Imagine waking up one morning, everything seeming perfectly normal, until you start noticing small, unsettling differences. Your phone has a wallpaper you don't remember setting. Your house key doesn't fit the lock. And when you check your ID, your last name is different. This isn't a dream. This is the chilling story of a man who woke up in a parallel universe, a story that will leave you questioning the very fabric of reality. It all began on an ordinary morning in 2008. A man, whom we'll call Javier, woke up in his apartment in Spain. He reached for his phone to check his messages, but something was off. The background image was different, a photo of him and a woman he didn't recognize. At first, he dismissed it. Maybe he changed it and forgot. But as he got up, the strangeness continued. His apartment looked just slightly different. His furniture was arranged in a way he didn't remember. When he left for work, he reached into his pocket for his car keys. But his car wasn't parked where he always left it. In fact, it wasn't there at all. That's when the first real wave of panic set in. Javier took the subway instead, trying to convince himself he was just tired or having memory lapses. But when he arrived at his office, his confusion turned into sheer terror. His office wasn't there. The company he had worked at for 5 years did not exist, not just rebranded or moved. There was no record of it. At first, he thought it was a prank, but as he asked around, no one had ever heard of it. He checked the internet. His bank account existed, but with slightly different transaction histories. The news headlines seemed mostly familiar, except for some small but glaring inconsistencies. Political leaders he didn't recognize, events that had never happened. He called his family. His parents answered, relieved to hear from him. But when he asked about a personal childhood memory, they hesitated. They didn't remember it. And then came the most chilling moment of all. Javier rushed home and searched for his girlfriend. They had been together for years. He had pictures of them, memories, a life together. But in this world, she didn't exist. There was no record of her, no social media, no mutual friends who remembered her. It was as if she had been erased from existence. Or worse, Javier had been erased from her world. Days passed, and Javier became obsessed with finding out what had happened. He visited doctors, thinking it could be memory loss or a medical condition, but every test came back normal. He considered the possibility of mental illness, but everything around him was just slightly wrong, like a twisted version of his own life. He even reached out to quantum physicists, scouring the internet for cases of people slipping between realities. The more he researched, the more disturbing the theories became. Some scientists theorize that parallel universes exist and that, under rare circumstances, people could slip between them. Could Javier have unknowingly entered a reality almost identical to his own, but with crucial differences? One theory suggests that in moments of extreme stress, the mind and body might inadvertently shift realities. Could a near-death experience, a dream state, or an unknown external force have pulled Javier into this unfamiliar world? But the real question was, could he ever return? Over time, Javier had no choice but to accept his new reality. He rebuilt his life in this world, though he never stopped searching for answers. If his old universe still existed, was someone else living his life there? Had he truly shifted dimensions, or had his mind simply rewritten his past? Javier never found out the truth, but one day something changed. Years later, as Javier scrolled through old articles about missing persons, one case stood out. A man had vanished under bizarre circumstances. His name was Javier. His photo was eerily familiar. It was him. The details were just slightly off, but they matched too closely to be coincidence. He realized that someone, another version of himself, had disappeared from his original universe the same day he arrived in this one. Had he replaced himself in another world? Had his old self found a way back? Or had he never belonged in either world at all? So what do you think? Could this really have happened? Or was it all an elaborate illusion of the mind? If you woke up in a world that wasn't yours, how would you prove it? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more mysterious stories like this one.